We are now in Lecture 1, Part 7 on David Ingram's Law. Here we're going to look at three possible meanings of Dworkin's conclusion. Meaning 1, the natural law meaning. Meaning 2, positivist meaning. And meaning 3, Hegelian meaning, and the philosopher Hegel, after whom this meaning can be named. One interpretation of Dworkin's conclusion is that it illustrates natural law theory understanding of law. There's a moral idea of respect for dignity of each person that we know by reason, reflecting upon what persons are as rational beings. On this interpretation, an unjust and illegal law was changed to a just and legal law. Finnis would take this position by claiming that the wrongness of 1896 decision was knowable by reason alone and could have been known as such by reason alone at any time, even in 1896. Another interpretation of Dworkin's conclusion is that social changes required ending segregation in order to stop unrest and preserve social order and peace, and that this change in law has nothing to do with any kind of a natural moral law. And if this social change did not happen, then it would have been just as legal and just to uphold segregation. This is the legal positivist interpretation. And it's the very opposite of Dworkin. Even though Dworkin himself does not take the natural law position, but is closer to the Hegelian interpretation, and that's where we're going next. There's a third interpretation here. There is a moral core to law, but it is not given all at once and is not fixed, like a law of nature. That moral core develops and is completed throughout history as history itself and society develop. And that is what we witnessed in the change from the 1896 interpretation of the 14th Amendment that upheld segregation to the 1954 interpretation of that same amendment that ended segregation. That change happened according to the moral core of law that is more basically expressed as a respect for the dignity of each individual as the basis of the Constitution that we can infer, for it is not explicitly stated, and we can then see was further expressed in the move from affirming segregation to rejecting it. So in this third interpretation, like in the natural law theory, there's a given moral core to the law. But unlike the natural law theory, that core is not given all at once and fixed, but rather both comes to be known and is actually itself developed, constituted, made, created, developed through and by history. And like positivism, the claim here is that justice and morality that belong to law, if any belong to it at all, are a product of human beings and of the making of laws, and are not to be found in nature. But unlike positivism, the claim here is that the ultimate goal of human actions and makings of laws are not simply stability and peace, and not simply whatever human beings happen to do and how they choose to live, but that there is what morality is, and it can be missed or nailed by human law making. And Dworkin's suggestion of respect for the dignity of each individual as the basis of the Constitution nails that uh, moral core of law that is developed by history. The third interpretation belongs to a philosopher, Hegel, and it seems to be the one that Ingram also subscribes to, and it's probably the best explanation of Dworkin's position as well.